controversy. I mean, we were just talking about it. The state of Batman, I would have to say, the state of Batman for a Friday night, the 5th of February, is kind of in flux. Because we were just saying they have kind of taken the last week and really messed with the convention of our character. Batman has a gun on the cover of Dark Knight 3, issue 3, which is we're gonna talk about that later. Well, we can't talk about it yet.
Well, and he has a gun in the movie.
I mean, he's full on, like Darren said, he's full on Batman Punisher. I don't
want Bat Punisher.
Spitting casings and bullets and.
He's Banisher.
Banisher. Yeah, there you go. There you go. And we talked about it last week. The whole Batman's okay with killing, and we won't go back to that. But that was last week.
We do want to have to talk about that in depth because I do want to get into discussion about that because there was a lot of heat I took because of that post we put.
I thought we resolved that situation.
Well, I guess we did.
We did. We know we had to talk with, and we want to thank everybody who chimed in on that, and don't stop and completely stay. Yeah, get us. You see something that gets you up, that provokes you, that makes you want to take part in a discussion. By all means, that's exactly what we're after. Bring it on.
Well, we just wanted to start a dialogue, really.
Yeah, and we did, and it was cool. And yes, I think it's very important to people. I think Batman and his no-kill policy, and certainly the guns, is an important aspect of the character.
Well, it's like the essence. For me, it's really the essence of the character.
Yeah.
For me, it's like he doesn't kill because that's the line he draws.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's what differentiates him between him and the Punisher.
Under the Red Hood
too. You know what I'm saying? And like honestly, they you know what they kept throwing in that post was how Batman had killed in like the 50s.
Yeah, they keep bringing that up. My position on that, and a lot of it has to do with the comics code. The character's been around for 75 years.
Right.
Anything that has that happened before the comics code or even within the last 30 years or so probably isn't as relevant because it's not really in the public consciousness. What we understand with the character of Batman, as far as our time is concerned, is that he doesn't kill and he doesn't use guns.
Right. As far as comics, as far as the 60s, as far as pop culture goes, I mean, he really only killed within very early issues of Batman.
Yeah.
And in like the Tim Burton Batman.
And they changed that because they wanted to establish a convention with the character. People trying to say that it was a comics code. I don't know that unless I hear it from Bob Kane himself.
There was a very strict code in the 50s for comics, huge, very strict code. And
I don't doubt that.
Detail, but I can only imagine that Batman had to be.
And I do remember seeing pictures of him holding a gun.
I don't remember seeing too many. But
I had one. I had a book. I had a book of one of the first issues. He's holding a gun. I'm sure Derek could probably find it.
Well, it was actually when Batman first started out, probably a year when he came out in 1939. He had a gun because of the time,
Yeah. Everyone had guns.
Didn't know where this kid was going to go, and later on, let's put the whole no gun rule, no killing rule.
Once I kind of hashed out his character, I'm sorry.
Well, the first issue is the case of the Chemical Syndicate. It was the first ever Batman issue, 1939.
Yeah.
Right.
Comics number 187. And
there he goes with the details. That's the man with the
details, man.
And if you don't know that, guys, get off our podcast.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell no one to get off.
Tune out.
I know, right?
I don't mean that. If you're listening to it, don't tune out. Please
research.
Tell people.
Research.
But if we, it's first episode. He says when the guy at the end he falls to a vat of acid.
Right.
Not the Joker, but it was fitting into like his kind.
That must.
Ooh, that's dark. But they were still developing the character. It was,
a lot of war propaganda about that time too.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a book at Barnes and Nobles. I have to pick it up. It was $20. I don't usually buy too much there, but it was in with the clearance section.
Yeah.
And it was Batman during World War II. And it was like a thick. Yeah, it was like It was a thick hardcover book.
They were featured in
I should pick it up and I'll.
Did they actually sell war bonds? That's something to look at. Whether or not they used Batman to sell war bonds.
Right.
At the time during that whole time World War II, right?
Yeah.
They were every superhero because it was going on. They had to be pro-U.S. So it was like it was like, hey, Superman was like buy war bonds.
Oh yeah. Great book by Michael
Bruce
Chabon.
Wayne was like donating.
Pretty much.
Great book by Michael Chabon, The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. If you've never read, if you're a comic book fan, you haven't read that novel, read it. It's really a great in-depth look into the early comics industry and why they created comic books in the first place. Basically, it was to advertise, to sell stuff.
What was the name of that book?
The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay by Michael Chabon.
Cavalier and Clay by Michael Chabon.
It's a great story.
Check that out.
It's a great story, and it's a great look at the comics industry.
I'd like to pick that up because I'd like to see what kind of Batman there was during the war. I'd like to see the pro-American Batman.
They actually have different heroes, but it's easy to tell what their heroes are based on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, is this like kind of the back in the day with the kind of the golden age,
Exactly.
the silver age?
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the guys
Was that the thing they did in the Justice League episode?
Maybe I haven't. I'm not sure.
Okay.
The guy who's it centers around a pair of an expatriate from Germany who had to get out because he was Jewish.
Right.
And then a young man who really didn't fit in anywhere else and kind of really only could draw and and create comics and create comic strips, and he did not find a niche, or he was an artist. And he didn't find a niche until he found this guy, who was an expatriate from Germany, and they created this this comic book character together. And it was to rival Superman. So they needed to come up with a character that could stand up against the Man of Steel.
Oh, well, that seems pretty cool.
It's pretty relevant too, huh?
Oh, hey.
Yeah. So yes, we have experienced some different upending of the Batman character, but we'll deal with it. But I guess in this time you gotta upset the apple cart, right?
Right. I guess you got to. But I don't want to. I'm a traditionalist. And I hope they don't. But here's the whole thing. I hope they don't do what Marvel did, where they kind of start, the artists start renditioning the characters more like the movies.
Yeah.
And you know, that's why I'm hoping that's not why they gave a gun to Batman. And like.
Yeah, that reminds me. When we were talking about convention and comic books and canon, there's a article today with Scott Snyder. He was on a podcast and he was being asked about how he treated the Man of Steel in the film Man of Steel, and he said, "Hey, if you don't know the Man of Steel, if you don't know Superman, then you don't know Superman if you think I changed Superman."
Well, he killed Zod in the comics. My buddy Keith loves throwing that in my face.
And
it happened in the comics.
But here's the thing. He says, "I'm a canon guy, so I always refer to the comic books. I always like to go back to canon." Those are his exact words, I think. I paraphrase a bit. But he's saying canon is his
Zack
thing.
Snyder.
It's his thing. Okay, well, we've seen some real canon liberties taken over the last 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah. So I have questions that he will not answer, of course, directly.
All right, so
but
we'll
what the hell?
Spider-Man, genetic webs, whatever.
Whatever.
Ah, well, yeah.
Don't mix houses, okay?
Honestly, that was in the comics. Michael Straczynski wrote a comic book where he was essentially reborn, and he did have organic webs. Ha.